Welcome back to the NAL with our third game of today, which hopefully should be a little bit more spicy than the first two that we have seen. M80 against C9, with M80 being the undefeated roster so far here in NAL Stage 2 regular season. Can they continue this as C9 is picking up pace?
I mean, you sure hope so. I mean, both teams have actually been looking pretty lethal when it comes to Stage 2. M80's currently undefeated. When it comes to Cloud9, wow, the momentum, 7-0, 7-0, 7-2. And now they have another chance against another top team to be able to take them out. So obviously, both teams looking pretty good. Gonna have to see who's the one that's gonna be able to be more consistent.
Yeah, consistency, however, has genuinely been the name of the game when we are looking at M80 specifically, because that's, of course, how you're going to be going undefeated. This roster, although no changes in terms of the players that they've swapped out, there has been a bit more change in the philosophy behind how every single piece is moving on the board.
Yeah, I mean, Fox has touched up on it, talking about, they're more utility-based, they're switching some players off of flex role, more specifically talking about Kino. And even for Hot and Cold, I mean, he's been leading a lot of the charge on that IGL role, but just as a whole, this M80 roster has really been doing a significant job of improving from one game to the absolute next. Even that first game versus Shopify, I mean, both teams, we talked about this, struggled very heavy on attack, but those defenses is where they really shined and came through. And we also heard that a lot of them were under the weather there, hanging out a little too much after scrims and then after the end of the day. But again, M80, I mean, this Cruelty match, it was a quick one to say the least. Huge clutches coming out of Kino. And we've talked about Kino, the one player that did switch off of a role and playing more stationary, supportive role has been Kino. And again, Kino has been keeping this team alive and also keeping that streak alive, to say the least.
Yeah, it was specifically with that one clutch against Wildcard, and ever since then, I don't know what happened since then, but it's just been upwards trajectory. But when we're looking at M80 as well, when it comes to their schedule and how the games that they still have to play and the games that they have played, they are looking so solid.
Yes, I mean, this has to be acknowledged. No game has really been easy by any means outside of that Cruelty matchup, which you could argue that could have been the hardest one. I mean, we heard Grixer say the easier games typically tend to be the hardest. They did make that right in terms of getting it 7-1 and not losing to Cruelty. But again, this M80 roster, this is the first time in M80's history of being in the scene as an organization of having a streak this good in terms of a regular season. And it then begs the question, is this going to be the M80 that is going to bring home a trophy for this team? We've talked about it time and time again throughout every iteration of M80. Is this going to be the roster? Is this going to be the roster? And I would like to say they're making a damn good run for it.
Is this going to be the roster? And you might have just cursed them by asking that question, but hopefully not, because it also begs the question in terms of the brains behind the operation, the IGL, the in-game calling, being able to swap things around mid-round and actually finish them just as strong as how they start them.
Listen, if this doesn't paint the picture for you in terms of what an IGL can bring to a team, not only can your IGL be outperforming every single other IGL in the scene, but also at the same time, he puts up big numbers in the game and also leading his team to also have this streak of being first place in the league. And I don't think we talk about Hot and Cold enough. He's definitely a historic player. He's been here since day one, and he hasn't let the foot off the gas. So if to anyone calling out older players saying that they can't hang, clearly Hot and Cold can hang, and he's also doing it from an IGL perspective. So hats off to the guy. He's getting it done not only in the server, but for his team.
Yeah, I mean, this is a really great pitch for M80 in regards to how strong they have been performing. They're going to be up against C9. And this roster started off pretty slow, I would say, this stage, Foxay. But in the last couple of games, they have seemed to have found their footing.
Yeah, I mean, even with the pickup of Hat, obviously, there's a lot of questions on the board. They didn't really start off hot when it came to week 1, week 2. But then it slowly started shifting. And I think that's been obviously what's given C9 that momentum that's been able to carry them through a little bit farther.
Yeah, and then you're looking as well at the schedule specifically for C9, and as we already touched upon a little bit, it was a little bit of a slower start, but now that they've found their footing, they're really going through with some crazy games like 7-0, 7-0, 7-2. That is not easy to do.
I mean, even in their first games, obviously against DZ Envy, it still was relatively close. Then a big shutdown game against SR, but immediately after that, they just needed to get that win under their belt, and the rest of the team, strategically, they've been firing on all cylinders, and that's something that we've talked about since last stage, since now, is when it comes to their strategy and their preparation, they're there. Their early game, it's there. It's just about closing the rounds out. And that being said, with all of this success and the momentum, it's also giving Hat a lot of time to be able to thrive and learn and flourish on this team. We haven't really seen that happen yet, but hopefully with a little bit more time, we'll be able to get there. But aside from that, the preparation from Cloud9, we're actively seeing it get to that mid game and to that late game.
Yeah, you're talking about the preparation specifically, and that's very evident in how they play some of these rounds when it comes to retakes as well.
Absolutely. I mean, they are actively able to understand, slow down, and focus on the win condition. This was round 5 against SSG that I thought was so genius. They let SSG go for the plant in exchange for getting 2 early picks, and then they use that man advantage to isolate and understand where the SSG players are and constantly go for 2-man drops onto each individual player, always making sure that they're using that man advantage, and essentially they're trading the plant to get that advantage in the first place, and then they use it perfectly. So now not only do we have C9 having that good understanding of what to do preparation wise before we get into the game, they're executing on it early game, and then afterwards they're able to then do it in the server, and that's Dream's development himself. As he's able to pretty much work around this strategy, understand what Vivid wants him to do, and carry it through each round individually. So obviously, everybody on the team's been doing great. Still need to see Hat turn up, though.
Yeah. And as opposed to like the strategy part of things, because what we've seen in Game 1 and Game 2 so far today is that when we're looking at the map video, when we're looking at the thought process behind it, it hasn't necessarily been in favor for the teams that are towards the bottom side of the leaderboard, but this one lacks Clubhouse.
I'm going to be honest. I actually don't mind this. I mean, both these teams haven't showed this. I believe the last time M80 showed this was like 180 plus days when they lost to, I believe it was Secret. So long time ago, and was played internationally. But I actually don't mind this pickup coming out of M80, just for the simple fact is, yes, you're seeing Cloud9 thrive on these success on their attacks in particular, where we know Clubhouse comes down to your attacks. You need to win on your attacks then to have a solid defense. So the fact that Cloud9 can start on defense, there is comfort there. But the caveat of this map is it's really about the fundamental errors that you're going to make. And I think M80 kind of wants to play a mental game here of, we're going to bring you to a very simple map. We're sure you've been able to adapt on these bigger maps. You've been having to problem solve. Now it's those small, minute, micro details that you're really going to have to pay attention to on Clubhouse, that a team like Cloud9, they've been doing the bigger picture, but these small things really can eat you alive if you can't collapse on them early, where I think, again, M80 is trying to exploit that.
And with the improvement that we've seen from C9 over the course of the last couple of play days, will that be enough to sway your prediction in favor of C9?
It might. I think I'm going to stick with M80. I do like Clubhouse, though, and it does get me excited for Cloud9 on Clubhouse, because what do we say? When there's a team that you're arguably better than, you don't take them to Clubhouse. I do think this is a very fair map when it comes to these two teams, but I will say M80 definitely threw Cloud9 a bone by banning out Lair to let it go to a map like Clubhouse. So obviously, it's really going to come down to those attacks. It's going to come down to who's able to focus on the executes better. We know M80 has been able to succeed when it comes to utility, but Cloud9 has been very good. We just saw it in the SSG matchup when it comes to everything execute, diffusing, and getting that diffuser down. So I'm excited. I don't know. I'm going to stay with M80. I think Cloud9 might win that.
You're going to stick with M80, but you think Cloud9 is going to... That's not how...
M80's look
okay,
so
that's
good,
not
though.
how prediction works. But either way, we're ready to head into our third match of today of C9 against M80 with our casters, Jesse and Intero. So guys, take it away.
Thank you very much. M80 punched their ticket to the playoffs alongside OXG with the last match's result, but they still want to hang on to a top 2 spot, if not outright take over first, which, Jesse, spoilers, they just lost to OXG. So when you look at this, Cloud9 just picked up 6 big points by beating the 2 worst teams in the league. Do you think they're the real deal, and do you think C9 has what it takes to match up against M80 today?
All right, that sounded maybe a little short. They also beat Space Station. They didn't just beat the 2 worst teams.
Sorry,
in the
3
league.
worst teams in the league.
Okay. No, I do think Cloud9 are the real deal, though, Parker. I mean, I thought our desk broke it down really nicely. Foxy had a great little replay where, honestly, Cloud9 have been really improving. Their last 3 games have been not just victories, but dominations. Sometimes over bad teams. We're all willing to see that with our eyes. But even still, I do think the way this Cloud9 have been putting together their attacks in particular has been absolutely phenomenal. So I'm excited to see what they've got. They're going against M80, the last undefeated team in North America. It's going to be a tough battle, and I agree with our analyst predictions that Cloud9 are going to be the underdogs in this game, but they could win. They've got a chance here, and especially going to a map like Clubhouse, it really is anybody's game to see who does come down to the victory. Laxing touched on it a bit. This is not a very common map for either of these squads. The last time Cloud9 played Clubhouse was in the Korean Open 2021, which I hope I don't need to say, was a different roster entirely from the one that's going to be playing now. So as far as this team actually is concerned, this will be their first time ever playing Clubhouse in an official match.
It'll be fun to watch, hey? Clubhouse, one of the most played maps across all regions, yet has only been played for 9 rounds here in the North America League. And it was attacker favored. What do those stats mean? Absolutely nothing. We know that Clubhouse is a defender-sided map, so we will get more data. It lags behind some of the titans of the region. Nighthaven, Cafe, and Bank are actually the 3 most played maps. Not in any order, by the way. Those are just the top 3. Bank is the most played map, and we obviously just got to see it, but it's a bit surprising how little Clubhouse we've seen. Here's another little fun fact as we get ready to load in here. Chalet has yet to be played in North America, so I guess they don't want to go to the snowy beaches of France to do battle. We'll go to Clubhouse. Sorry?
Beaches?
Yeah, there's lots of beaches next to the mountains. Haven't you seen the map?
I guess I should
It's like you don't even spend $10 a month on GeoGuessr.
Fair enough, Parker. I actually have the yearly subscription, so I don't pay monthly at all for GeoGuessr. I should have you know.
Thank you for correcting me in live action. It's very important. We need live fact-checking is what we need here.
Cloud9 exploring a bit of the world on their own. Again, the first time that they've played this Clubhouse. Now, M80 did play this map back in Stage 1, but it was in that 6th, 5th place decider game up against Wildcard, which was not streamed. So there's not actually VOD footage of this team for quite a long time since they last played it. So it's really a question mark map for both of these teams. I think for M80, it's kind of a good opportunity to maybe add another map to your pool. You can imagine that when they get into the map vetoes for playoffs, things are going to get a little bit more scary. And if you've got a map that you can maybe force your opponents to ban out, then that can give you the edge in some of those map vetoes. So I do feel like that's a part of the reason why M80 wanted to try a new map here against Cloud9. For C9, maybe the curveball will give them the edge they need to take down Stage 2's best team so far. We'll have to wait and see, Parker. It's a pretty heavy roam. Both Kobe and Hat up here on the top floor. Early engagements could be lurking.
It's a bit goofy as Kino seemed to moonwalk his way out of that. I don't know if you saw how funny that was, but it's a small issue with the breach on in. I wonder if we're going to see all 4 bomb sites here on Clubhouse. That bar stage bomb site on the main floor does show up from time to time, but I think how little Clubhouse that we have seen played and the unfamiliarity with these teams on it might not have it show up. I think we're just going to stick with Old Reliable at this point, which is the bottom floor, which is site number 1 that we see, and then the top 2. One of which is in this location where Kino is, but he's clearing from the top. As you can see on your screen, many silhouettes of these Cloud9 defenders scattered about, and Kobe Lax will gun down Gavin for the first kill of the match.
Yeah, and still real no gains for M80. They don't even have space. This could be the first frag. There it is for Kino. Gets the trade back on a Kobe, and Hat cleaned up too. So that's 2 roamers cleared out from the top floor, which is very nice, but they had to lose a body, and they've spent a lot of time up here. The real challenge is going to come in the late round now. Silent, Giddy, and Dream all hunkering up inside the basement. They've got a Nitro Cell, they've got a Kiba, and they've got 3 Toxic Babes. Sometimes on this map, you full commit to the roam. Sometimes you full commit to the site. Cloud9 have really gone kind of 50-50. So while they did somewhat lose the early game, they've still got a lot of utility down here for the late round push. So this is by no means going to be a free execute for M80. Battling this clock will be absolutely critical. Get the soft breaching done as quickly as you can. Get these hatches open with the can openers that you've brought on both hot and cold and diffuser, and pick your poison as to where you want to go. It seems like Parker Blue will be the primary focus of this push, likely with some moto pressure late in the round as well.
And just as you say that, the Blackbeard Aquino is taking up residence in that area and then decides not to do it. Okay, never mind. So maybe Blue isn't quite the focus for now. Oh, no, hold on a second. Hot and Cold's going to swap on out. Maybe he's going to go towards Blue. He's going to go on drone. Oh, my goodness. They're all over the place, man.
Yeah. Baited a little bit. The Toxic Babe's going to make it kind of awkward here, but Blue is eventually the focus. Parker, Capital Bolter there.
Finally comes back as a Nitro Cell is hawked on up. Silent dies in the hands of Gunner. M80 have everything going for them at this point in time. 1 drops, and they see Hot and Cold get shut down by Dream as Kino should successfully pull the plant on. Dream is making life a nightmare for this M80 team, as now it's up to Giddy, who had unloaded his shotgun into Kino's shield, but as you know, those bullets bounce right off. M80 lose the first pick, but do mighty fine. From that point onward, Diffuser gets planted, and they win the round.
Yeah, nice little execute. Again, not necessarily easy, despite the man advantage that they had going into that. You saw a Dream having some huge success. If that Nitro lands, I mean, he could have done so much damage. He chucked it out the blue hash to try to find Hot and Cold. Eventually got him on the drop anyways, but it was really just that focus on the kitchen hash drop that ended up being so strong for M80. I thought they'd go Moto. That's where Giddy was positioned, so it might have been what Cloud9 were expecting as well, but they last second pivoted over. It was really hard to tell where that push was going to come until it actually did start with the Blackbeard dropping down through the hatch. So no great way to stop that from happening, and M80 will take their first round win up against Cloud9. You said that with more data, this might get to be a more defender-sided map, as we would come to expect, but M80 are the favorites, and they are starting on the attack, so there's a world where they start to run up the scoreline, too, if they really do just gap Cloud9.
5 seconds remaining.
Who knows? You'd have to look at the other regions. And good news, Jesse, they all play Clubhouse as well. Which one do you want to go to first? You want to go to EML first? That's a great idea. Let's do just that. Clubhouse has been played for 40 rounds, and it is a 50-50 map. 20 rounds won by the attackers, 20 rounds won by the defenders. If we walk a little bit farther southwest, we'll end up in South America, where it ends up being the second most played map, which gives us a lot more data to work off of. It is very defender-sided amongst all 10 of the Brazilian teams playing in SAL. Roughly 59% of the rounds played breaking in favor of the defender. So you've got, it's been played one time in NA and it's attacker favored. It's been played about 3 times in EU and it's 50-50. And then it's been played about 6 times in Brazil/South America and it's very defender favored. Obviously we can get into the nitty gritty of the 3 inter-region or the 3 sub-regional leagues in APAC, but I think this is good enough for us to know based on the history of Clubhouse 2 this is a very friendly map for the defenders. So Cloud9 need to get at least 2 rounds pretty quickly or else they run the risk of burning a timeout and falling very far behind to start this map.
Well, it's a great lesson on sample sizes, and it'll be a lesson on executes, too, for M80 with limited map control, because they have not gone for a cache clear, which is a little surprising on this bomb site. They've left it for the defenders. Not that anybody's really playing in there. Kobe's burning alive and does go down inside a gym. Just a little bit of util work from Hot and Cold will get them the man advantage. The fact that they didn't clear cache means that his life could be in jeopardy, but Hat is not committing to the window swing inside of CC. He'll be catching these drones and we'll just have this late pressure shut down by Gunner. What a great clear to come out. Had the late round push onto Cash. One more player in here that they might have to worry about, but he retreats back into construction. Everybody falling on the side of Cloud9. These early aggressive moves not paying off, Parker.
There's just 2 remaining on C9, and it looked like one of them took some damage from the fire arrow shot out by Hot and Cold. That was indeed Giddy, who's surviving through the flames for the time being, but is in between a really, really hard spot. He gets dusted off. M80, oh my goodness, tripping over our words as they just bulldoze their way through that defense and win a flawless second round to extend their lead.
Beautifully played so far from M80, looking really confident in this game up against Cloud9. These 2 teams have met twice. Of course, they met in Stage 1, and they met back in Reload as well. And both games were 7-5 victories for M80. So close matches both times. I think M80, we're expecting this one to at least follow a similar trend where it does get close, but it's not what we've seen so far. Cloud9 a little bit worried by going down 0-2 on the defense. Will start with their attack timeout, get a chance to talk to their coach, and hopefully get things back on track. Vivid, of course, the head coach for Cloud9, or he's trying to bring things back together for this team. Do you think on that previous round, it was just so many different angles of attack that Cloud9 weren't so ready for? Capital Bolt perfectly counters the Azami inside of Jim. I think if Hat immediately commits to a swing over towards CC, maybe he gets a really strong trade, and that round actually does look pretty good for Cloud9, but he's a little hesitant. He is on a drone in the end, and even if he's expecting the push up red stairs from the Deimos, ends up losing that. So a couple of tough gunfights go the way of M80, and then I think broadly their positioning just so good to find those last couple players. It's tough, man. I mean, I think Cloud9 are a solid team, but when you're going against these M80 attacks, it is by no means easy.
No, not at all. I mean, M80 made some small stumbles in round number 1, found their footing midway through the round, and then crushed the execute boxing Cloud9 out. And then in that particular round, they didn't make any stumbles anywhere whatsoever. Cloud9 is not keen to go back upstairs. They will try for the bomb site that was a little bit closer. I think they got, what, 2 kills, 3 kills back in round number 1, and now they will go back downstairs and hope for a better result. Cloud9 was rocking the Ellen, was roaming upstairs, but now a relatively familiar op on Clubhouse will emerge, and that's Scopos. Technically, 2 operators in 1. Very, very common to put one on the complete opposite floor of wherever the bomb site would be. So if you're defending one of these upstairs bomb sites, which they are not, but Kobe is in a position where one of the bomb sites would be, you'd stash one probably over in bathroom or something on bedroom side when you're defending downstairs. If you're defending upstairs, you'd stash one down below in blue or in photo. We've seen them even get stashed in strip before behind the bar. It'll be interesting to see where Kobe puts this second robot and where he'll be able to possibly emerge in a flank that they don't see coming.
It's another heavy commitment to the roam, maybe even harder of a commitment this time around, depending on how long Kobe chooses to stay up here. He's playing Raptors, as you said, and Giddy's not too far off inside of Cache, so clearing that will be the primary objectives. Gabatalbo is being used on Raptors, and Kobe, can he get out? It looks like just in the nick of time. That first body put down to 1 HP, Parker, but he gets all that health back as he teleports back to the site with his second lifeline. Perfectly played, dealt with some good utility, and then didn't give up any frags to M80. That's a cool little play on the Scopos. Does leave Giddy kind of alone. It looks like Hat's moved up the main stairs to help him out on this kind of construction side roam, but yeah, nice little tech from Kobe to get it alive there. He nearly burned to death.
Once again, this assault will come above. Giddy now rocking that Scorpion. Maybe he wasn't playing Ellie. Maybe he was playing Denari because they do share the weapon. Honestly, I'm just so not used to seeing that Scorpion on another operator. Kobe Lax finds 1 kill, traded out immediately, but C9's guns are doing something that they've had some struggles with over the previous 2 rounds, hitting their targets. Fire inside of blue is doing extensive damage to Diffuser, and Dream punishes both of them. What a great round for Dream. He was sensational back in round number 1 and almost did enough to keep the team in it, but they came up short. This time he will not allow the team to make that mistake again, and he'll break the 2-round run that M80 team was on as C9 gets on the board.
Yeah, start to finish, strong round from Cloud9. You know, they win the early game, not only with Kobilak making his great escape, but also with Gunnar being the opening death over towards Giddy. And then M80 realizing that this early game has gotten kind of away from them. They call for a quick pivot down into the basement. Would have been a sweet move from them, but unfortunately, Kobe was able to answer back immediately with the frag onto Gavin, take down him, pushing in towards blue. It was really a 4-man push towards the blue side. They were really hoping they could catch them off guard, but that was read so perfectly by Cloud9. You group up like that, there's really nowhere else they could have gone without the map control, right? So a desperate pivot down to the basement. It's a good call by M80, but it just doesn't pay off this time around. And so Cloud9, after attack timeout, will get their first round on the board. And now we're starting to get a little bit more competitive. This is kind of what I was expecting this game to look like before it began.
I didn't think it would be a runaway for M80, that's for sure. I expected Cloud9 to be competitive, but again, the one thing that just sits in the back of my mind, I guess I am the negative Nancy today. I have to balance out your unbridled positivity, which is a little out of character for you. You hate at a generational level. But today you are nothing but compliments. You are giving everybody their flowers.
I think I have to give flowers. What?
I just sit here and try to balance out the broadcast by being, well, I gotta be the bad guy.
Ridiculous. Slander. Slander on the cast.
Well, yeah, you're the one who's being a positive Polly today, so I've got to be the negative Nancy. I will say, Cloud9 farmed the 2 bottom teams, technically the 3 bottom teams in SSG, Standby, and Cruelty. Now, points are points, so kudos to them for earning them. And I mean, 7-0ing the 2 last place teams is an achievement in and of itself in the same week. Like, not even letting them get a single round, that's punishing. But they are still the bottom tier teams. 9 points accrued against the bottom 3 teams. In an ideal world, every team is ending up in that same position where they can amass their points. So Cloud9 needs to start winning against teams that are the real deal, and M80 are certainly in that position. Kobe first casualty, Hat will follow shortly thereafter. Hot and Cold also dropped off by the toxic gas thrown out by Dream. The clash of Giddy no longer a hindrance as he's removed, and the Fenrir will soon be next, inside of the corner, completely blind, flailing away as Dream is finished off. Silent can be collected in just a moment, and that means Kobe who is miles away from the bomb site, will herald his entry by setting up some magnets as all of this action occurred on the other side of the map, Jesse. You would think that it was Gym Bedroom, but no. The bomb site, cache CCTV. Kobe doesn't really have any intel here.
I don't know what I just watched, Parker. That was pure chaos, but I guess it works out for M80, and I don't think it's going to get easy at all. No, sir. Gunner on the site window cleans it up. My goodness. I mean, it's a Ying and it's a Blitz jumping in through the Master and Jim windows. Hat is sitting in the corner of Jim. That's a round you got to go back from top-down POV and watching slow-mo. Hat is literally in the corner of Jim. M80 have no idea. They jump in with a Blitz. Somehow Hat does not do anything with that. I think he's blind, perhaps, or at least in the smoke when the hop-in happens. So Hat empties his entire clip, misses all of his shots, and then Kino turns around on the Blitz to get the kill. Gunner gets a melee kill at some point in that push. Kobe is fragging from rafters somehow. Oh my god, we do have a POV of it. He empties his clip because he's in the smoke, and then Kino gets the frag. Pure chaos on that roam coming out from Cloud9, and it doesn't go their way at all. What a goofy round coming out from these two teams, but M80 on top, I guess.
I mean, today has very much been a day of unpredictability and not exactly what we expect happening to happen. I mean, I think the score lines in the first 2 games were expected, or at least the results were expected. Yeah. But what actually occurs in the match, that's anybody else's guess, right? I frankly did not expect Wildcard to look like they got caught so flat-footed in that first match. I also didn't expect Standby to completely crumble after round number 1 in that second match. Here, I mean, things have been, well, they're about where they are, right? M80 is somehow winning on attack on Clubhouse, which bucks the trend. Not the Clubhouse we saw in NA, which we've seen just 9 rounds played on this map prior to this bout, and the attackers won 6 of those 9 rounds. But in the SA League down in Brazil, defenders have this map pretty well figured out. So we just can speculate. I don't know about you, but do you think M80 is going to have an even easier time when they defend, or do you think we are looking at an attacker-sided Clubhouse?
It's honestly hard to tell. I was really looking forward to that second half. I guess I still am looking forward to the second half because Cloud9 are the best attacking team in the league statistically, and M80 are the best defending team. So whatever the result ends up being, I'm expecting a very competitive matchup. I do expect it to lean M80's way because the map is, again, defender-sided generally, and while Cloud9's attacking win rate, as you said, kind of came off of farming cruelty and standby. So it's tough to say how it's going to play out before it goes, but I would say M80 will be favored on that second half. They've got a 0 and a glass push, and Parker, I think they're just sending it into Jim.
Full send is a full sentence, and that's exactly what will happen. Kino establishing some cover fire. He will find the clash as there's multiple silhouettes now. Nitro Cell goes down, but nobody suffers through it. Hot and Cold is now dropped as the Nitro Cell was actually kind enough to open up the hatch to allow Hot to escape. The bees will go on in as the Clash and the Warden both look to stand tall in this bomb site. Dream will set down the shield, leading the way on his team with 6 kills, more than the rest of his team combined. You will need a big round from him. He hops on the defuse kit. He will be dispatched by Gunner. Kobilax also down. Hat gone, Silent gone. Could it be another flawless round for M80? They already got one just a few ago, and they will do so yet again. The G-Wagon, as we call it. Gavin and Gunner putting in so much work, clearing out the bomb site, and M80 pick up yet another round on attack.
And honestly, such a cool round again. M80, you'd think that they were been playing Clubhouse every day for the last year because they honestly look so good. They've got so many different strats for this bomb site. That one, of course, a rush in through the gym window. It's actually Kino on the glass who shoots open the hatch so that Hot and Cold can play from down below inside the post plants. He saved all 5 of those Grim Beehives for the post plants. So they absolutely knew they could get away with the plants without having to worry about too much. It's a really awkward diffuser spot too. After you open the hatch, it's really tough to get an angle on the disable. Sometimes you'll be able to get a disable on that bomb site just by playing behind for workout stuff that's inside a gym, but it was a really smart plant spot. It was really good util to come through. They had Gunnar taking control of that mid floor with the 0. Kino on the glass played absolutely fantastic. You mentioned the G squad, Gunnar and Gavin really stepping up for the kills. There's honestly really cool stuff coming up from M80 today. It's been a joy to watch some of these attacks. Gaveni in particular is starting to frag out now for this team. I guess only 2 so far through the game, but that last round getting some big ones. Gavin's got a bit of history with this Cloud9 team. Won Challenger League back in 2022 on reality TV alongside Giddy. So a bit of history if you go back into the books far enough. That reality TV team, of course, had Mr. B on it, Packer, and Tristan too. So all well-known names in the Tier 1/Tier 2 scene today.
I remember that team. I remember them very well. There's been a couple Tier 2 teams that still pop up into my brain from time to time. The other big one, 92 Dream Team, that eventually housed a ton of pros. Ape, as well, was very much in that list. Oh my goodness, Diffuser gets baited into the Goyo on that stock door and then finished off by a rat play from Giddy, who could have had a second pick. He almost gets away with it. Kino is off to the races, though. Down goes Dream, and the Blitz has found a pick. Kino and Gunnar competing for top on this team. Gunnar just inching out Kino at this point in time, and guess what? They've got full site control. All while this is happening, unbeknownst to this Cloud9 roster, M80 has taken the bomb site for the likes of their team. Down goes Gunnar. Giddy bleeding out. Kobilax will need to save the round unless he can get to Giddy, but he is at the mercy of time. Pick him back up. C9 will likely divide their forces, but Kino is in hot pursuit, running down. He gets the remainder of Giddy, and now seeks out Kobilax as he drops him. Gavin credited with the final kill in a 5-1 first half. Every single one of these games have been so lopsided in the first 6 rounds. This is no exception. M80 2 rounds away from a big 3 points that would put them back in first.
Dude, and again, it's like round after round, some crazy strategy from M80 to pull it off. That time, they recognized that I believe Cloud9 had opened up the Moto hatch. They were playing kind of a classic roam on that bomb site where you use the castle barricades to try to hold down bar for a long time, and then you rotate back down through Moto yourself. But recognizing what was going on, M80 said, we're going to send Gunnar and Kino in through strip. They're going to push their way into bar. They're going to drop the site into Moto. And then whilst they're still like basically every Cloud9 player up on the roam, Gunnar and Kino are just taking control of the site. Really cool stuff coming out once again. Kino, I think, some fantastic play on that blitz in terms of the decision-making with the plants and also just how he's playing with that pistol and with the flash. Really cool stuff coming out from him. I think Kino, honestly, one of the most underrated players this stage. He's got 7 plants, the second most of anybody this league. He's got a 100% success rate in the clutch as well through 3 attempts, which is pretty impressive for my books. He's been really consistent in the late rounds. And yeah, I mean, just a super clean round coming out from M80 altogether. They look absolutely perfect on their clubhouse attacks.
Attackers have discovered the location of a bomb.
Now we get to see if this is just an attacker-sided map. If Clubhouse go off to the races themselves in this second half, the start of the third quarter, as you like to call it, then we'll start to have a better idea. But a bit abnormal to see Clubhouse played as little as it has in NA. Every region has a different map sitting at the top of their pick rate, or at least most regions do. I like that diversity, and when the best of the best come together in Munich in just a couple months' time, well, we'll have quite a bit of diversity when it comes to map pool between all of these teams. Hot and Cold's a name we haven't said very much today because he's been diligently doing his role as a support player. 1 in 4, but for a support, that's about fine. He is dying in most of the rounds that M80 is winning, which is not abnormal, but probably doesn't love from a stats perspective. He was standing guard over by Jim as now Giddy struggles to open up the wall into the bomb site. He finally gets it. Hot and Cold is pivoted now in his position, and he will greet that opening as Giddy is immediately moved over to construction. All right, well, Cloud9 in very quick fashion have opened up two of the most important avenues to the bomb site.
Yeah, nice job so far on the start. Assuming the con single wall wasn't mute jammed, which if it was, they should be able to clear it out with no, they got it open. No problem then. Yeah, nice little util work to come out from C9. Dealing with Hot and Cold on this clash is going to be a whole nother issue. As is getting into Logi through Toxic Bait, they will drop. Silent finds the opening onto Gunner, and Dream is starting to take some space. Lots of roamers here inside of Master, including the clash. Hotten's rotated over to try to assist Caveni. Candela's flying through, and the kills are all going the way of Cloud9. This clear has been perfect so far.
Gavin will find nothing for that. Kino now has an opportunity to move above Gunner, jump above him in the kill feed. He's taking quite a bit of damage here, but honestly, the lives on C9 are looking pretty good for the time being. That was a very, very fast execute to get in the building by Cloud9. The pace they set, excellent. It caught M80 off guard, and M80 now in a very bad place. As they are entrenched in the bomb site, there's not a lot of movement that's possible in this cache CCTV portion of the map. When you've lost control of construction, your real only avenue is to go down the stairs, either through rafters in garage or red stairs. And either way, it's a long trek to get to the other side of the map, which would be Master, where at this point, C9 can just have somebody on permanent flank watch.
This push looks really good, Parker. Giddy's going to be the lone guy holding platform. If he's only 1 HP, if you clear him out, that maybe alleviates some pressure, but you got bigger problems. Silence in the site. He's got a shotgun and the defuse kit. Forces everybody back. He's so deep, and he's finding kills. Oh, beauty push from Silent to just take that space. It's a flawless round victory for Cloud9 as they dominate that push and maybe just showcase why they are currently the best attacking team in North America.
I mean, another flawless round. 3 of them so far through 7 rounds. Again, very dominant from the teams that ultimately go on to win. Cloud9 have their work cut out for them. A 5-1 first half is quite the climb, but it's definitely doable, especially if this is an attacker-sided map like we have speculated. Still time for M80 to figure this one out. 1 round won by M80 guarantees overtime, which means they get a single point, which will, help them, but it won't get them first place back. At this current point in time, they trail OXG by 2 points and have a better round differential. I think that's the tiebreaker, isn't it?
Yes, I believe so.
It changes. And I am old and I don't have the best memory anymore. These, by the way, the top 2 teams of M80 and OXG did battle in the very first play day, and it was a 7-5 victory for M80. So if it's not round differential, M80 does have the tiebreaker based on that head-to-head result.
I'm confirming it is overall round difference for the first tiebreaker.
There we go. Excellent. Thank you so much for that. Really impressive run-in by Dream on that first round, by the way. He has been exceptional on this Cloud9 team. He's proven his weight in gold. And we've always known Dream's a good player. All the way back on OXG, on just about every single iteration of any roster he's had. He's an overall nice guy, but what he's able to get out of his team is really quite extraordinary. C9 needs a big performance from its fraggers, though, because as you can see on the left side of your screen, most of those numbers are still underwater. Hat has been uncharacteristically quiet. He's going to be playing some util ops, but he's also got some fragging potential in the operators he will play on attack. They're going to need a big performance from him in 1 or 2 rounds at minimum. If he continues to be as quiet as Silent is, the 2 of them not really putting up good numbers, very easy to see Cloud9 just simply losing the fist fight that they'll have with M80 based on M80's gunners today.
Hot and Cold not wanting to take that gunfight, drops down through the Moto hatch. Diffuser is making a bit of a move, but it's Gunner on the main stairs who steps up first for the frag, taking Silent down to 2 and 6. You wanted to see more of Hat? Well, there he goes, taking down Gavin, the Azami player from inside of Bar, and that will force all of the other roamers back down towards the site. Diffuser happy to play down there. I believe he's still got a second body that he could rotate back up into Strip for a late round flank. We'll see if he goes for that or if it is still up on the board. But in any case, this push will start to get underway, opening up the floorboards, opening up the hatches as they do. I think trading an Ash for an Azami is honestly a pretty good trade if you're Cloud9. Maybe you lose some of those Ash charges, but there's not really util you're that scared about inside the site. And given the fact that M80 kind of brought operators that are more focused towards the roam game than the site execute, I would favor Cloud9 in this situation. There's not really a lot of stall or plant denial at this point, mostly just the Goyos, which frankly should have all been cleared out at this point, if not the majority of them definitely have.
Worrisome to lose those Kiva barriers as early as M80 has. It will offer them fewer protections now as C9 drops Moto, but Hot and Cold has that long-range angle by the jukebox, and he's playing the hits. Dream goes down alongside Giddy, shotgun out, trained to that church wall, the Demo sprinting in. Kobilax gets the angle though, Gunnar misplaying that position, and it's given Kobilax impunity on the back of Church. M80 with a numbers advantage. Clock not favoring Cloud9 right now. Hat will drop Hot and Cold, unmoved from his position, and now Kobilax just watching his entire team die around him. He'll have to pick his poison. Running out of time, Hot and Cold seals the deal on that round. What a terrific performance from Matt Stevens is his name again. One we didn't say often, but boy, does he come up big. In big moments, match point for M80.
Hot and Cold, one of only 2 players in the league who can, coming into this play, I should say, who can claim to be both the IGL and the top-rated player statistically for their team. I know he's not having the most frags today, but Hot and Cold has got a 142 KDR coming into this game and has actually been fragging like crazy over the last couple of weeks. I said one of 2. The other one coming into this play day was Bino, but Bino went 0-7 in their last game a couple hours ago. So might just be Hot and Cold at this point. Beautiful shot by Hat, I have to say, in the replays we catch that. Really nice to start Cloud9 off on, I would say, a positive foot going into that site push. But M80 did a really good job of recognizing the fact that they didn't really have the util to win that round on time. So instead, in the 4v4, what do? They get really aggressive and they start swinging. Hot and Cold on that Moto door. Then it's Gunnar right after on the church wall. They step up, they catch Cloud9 off guard, and they get those picks. Because if they just sit back and they wait and they let Cloud9 execute 4v4, I really don't favor them in that engagement. I think they recognized that the util was better on C9's side. Because of that, they had to get aggressive and make a play, and they did just what was needed of them. Traded out beautifully in that site. So really does feel like M80 are playing a complete game of Siege today, Parker, as they have all stage long, and one more round is all they'll need to remain undefeated in stage 2.
Reload.
I've been, not to plug it, but I've been working a podcast with Fed, who has some pretty big insider info on this M80 team, because, well, he used to be a part of it back when it was Beast Coast, and then he's very happy that these players have bounced back. He said they just needed time to gel, and really likes the addition of Kino to the roster. I mean, obviously, Spirits is a terrific player, and he's found some new life on DZ, even if DZ has slipped. At this point, they're actually out of the playoff race because of the results that have happened today. But Kino is doing great, and they've got Fabian as a coach now. Fett, obviously a major winning coach, but Fabian is Fabian. You're hard-pressed to find somebody who knows the game better than Fabian does. Just because you know it doesn't mean you can talk about it, and just because you know it doesn't mean you can teach others that same knowledge. But by most measures, it looks like Fabian's done a good job. First with PSG Talon, and that was a very tough position for him to be in. And then obviously with M80, things are going a lot better. This team is just gelling. They're doing it with flexible roles, a diverse operator pool, and pretty much everybody on M80 having a good game. I mean, look at Kino and Gunnar, 18 kills. You'd have Gavin and Diffuser top fragging on another game. They can pass that torch around because of the depth that this team has, and there's a reason why for most of this stage they've been in the top 2 of the region.
Likely to remain that, I think. Cloud9 with this push haven't gotten much. There wasn't really a hold over towards the cash side. Both on attack and defense, M80 kind of ignoring that side of the map, but I guess with some of the pushes they were going for, they had other priorities. Giddy unfortunate with that Flores drone. He's hoping to clear out some of these Kiba barriers, but getting caught by a mute jammer, so it's going to make things a little bit awkward. Also kind of just starts as a bit of a landmine once they do go for this push in. Another one does get cleared out. So going to have to find some other ways to get advantage on this push-up. They don't have control of the bottom floor. Hot and Cold's down there, peeking in through the doorways. I mean, this is a very telegraphed push. I can't imagine M80 fall for this.
And Gunner dies. I mean, they might be falling for it. They've at least lost one of their players, their top fragger at this point in time. Persistent gadgets for the Goyo, though, so not all hope is lost. Gavin dies shortly thereafter. Houghton, continuing his impressive play from the previous round, gets the only kill up to this point for M80. Kobilax drops. Kino taking a lot of damage in the process. The follow-up and a missed opportunity for Diffuser on the stairs. It allows Cloud9 to maintain their numbers advantage as Diffuser keeps them boxed out. Silent, a nice pick. It's all up to Hot and Cold to clutch. Where is the coverage? Hot and Cold didn't know the plant was going down, and he gets bamboozled by Giddy. Cloud9 stay alive. They cling to this map for dear life.
Weird kind of end of the round there for Hot and Cold. He did know the plant was happening there, but he was so worried about the cover because Dream was just inside of Master Bedroom. So he swings Dream first, but Dream's not even covering the cross. He absolutely could have just sprinted past and stopped the plant. He gets a little bit too caught up on what could happen, though. Doesn't trust that that angle won't be getting washed. And so, yeah, ends up getting collapsed by those last two players. Good attempt. I said I didn't think it would work for Cloud9 before that push, but it's honestly just really strong gunfights coming alive for Cloud9 in that one. Silent in particular, I believe, putting up a 3K to more than double his kills in this game. So that's a massive bounce back from Silent. They're going to need Silent to be performing if they want to pull this game back into overtime. Silent was instrumental in that 3-game streak that they went on prior to this. I know Giddy got a lot of the praise, and rightfully so. Giddy played fantastic over the last couple of days, but Silent was quietly also putting up really big numbers, being the star fragger of this team. Today it's been more Kobilax who's been taking those entries and finding success. Silent has been weirdly quiet today, but honestly, I've been really impressed with him over the season as a whole, and this is kind of more the Silent I'm used to looking at. We'll have to see how he does for the rest of this second half, but him coming alive might make a difference for Cloud9.
Either of them, honestly, Hat or Silent, just another offensive threat, as now Dream is cooled off and Giddy is not going to be fragging. That's not his role. So as long as you've got a decent supporting cast around these fraggers, good things will happen, but you need those fraggers to actually frag, believe it or not. Hat is going to be playing a bit of a more backseat role as Giddy picks up more fragging operators on this attack. And I mean, with the way Hat is playing, I don't disagree with this decision. It's also a role that Hat will likely be more familiar with. Dream will walk that diffuser in. Shields will have it, not the hard breachers, so at least it will give Hat on that what is usually the diffuse plant role, which is the hard breacher, an opportunity to get some kills. First blood has been a major focus for both of these teams. More often than not, the team that gets that first blood has gone on to convert the rest of the round into a win. Lately, it's been Cloud9 having better fortunes. They're very quickly opening up this B-bomb wall that leads into server. They'll lose a drone in the process and kind of botch the opening, if I'm being honest, but they've still got some hard breach remaining.
Yeah, and it's also not the end of the world if you can't walk through. I mean, they can still vault through it, right? And also the diffuse kit's going to come rafters. So you just need to really hold this angle, and they've got some really good angles here. Hat's able to hold on to that, of course, playing on the AK too. By no means a bad gun, so he can frag out if he's needed to in this round. There is a player towards the bottom of Garage. That's Diffuser, who's just kind of ratting close to the secret stairs. I'm not sure if he's been droned out by Cloud9. That might be what this drone's attempting to do. And yeah, he heads that direction, but the drone gets shot out. Still information's there for Cloud9. This Garage take has been the focus all round long, but it's been very slow. Parker, they need control of Garage ASAP if they want to make this push happen.
Diffuser's getting real bold, taking the gunfight to those walls and now looking over towards Lounge and the door that leads outside of the building. He's got his hands full and Kobilax comes out ahead in that engagement. M80 suffering first. A spot that they've been in a few times this match. 1 minute remains for these 4 players on M80 to look to secure this match. But the good news is they got their tally up so high that they've got plenty of time to land this plane. Getting another kill for C9 as Hot and Cold is dropped. That's 2 separate players on the side of C9 getting in on the action. Now, M80, they have to go for broke. Swing for the fences. They got the Monty of Dreams still lording over them on the stairs. He's waiting for the gas to linger as Kino has one gas canister in pocket and will use it with 30 seconds left. That means Dream will have to either take some damage or wait it out. And right now, the call seems to be to wait. C9 have such a numbers advantage that they can play this really patient. But at some point, they have to force these remaining defenders from M80 out of their positions. Gunnar will gun down Kobilax and now turn towards the doorway as the Monties let the gas pass. Silent dropped as well. Hat is gone. Kino with 2, Gunnar with another, and Dream gets killed on Raptors. Suddenly, M80 has won the match despite being down in man count. There's a reason why M80 has been one of the best teams in the NA League, and they just showed it. Dominating another playoff caliber team here in NA. Clubhouse goes in favor of M80, and M80 will regain first in the league.
Parker, M80 might not have had the numbers, but they had all the positioning that they could have needed. Great Rafters play from Gaveni. He never gave up that position playing on the Azami. Capitao band coming in massive there, even with the Monty unable to clear it out. Just masterful play coming through from them. Cloud9, unfortunately, their win streak will come to an end here against M80, but it was still a strong match from them, and they can bounce back later in the week.
We're halfway through our day, just a little bit past that. Let's hear what the desk has to say about Cloud9 versus M80 after this break.
I think on plat. I don't know.
Hold on,
though.
Red.
Yeah, one
Red.
dead.
Yeah, help Red.
One more dead.
Nice.
Both dead.
Highway, highway.
Watch around
Plat,
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 plat.
plat.
Nice.
Highway.
Let's see, let's see.
Nice!
Good fucking game. Good
Come
job.
on, bro.
SRBs. Good job.
Welcome back to the NAL, where M80 has just had a dominant win over C9. A great start for them here on the Super Week, and in general, a great way to, I guess, end more of that regular stage. So let's bring over the Fuser to have a bit of a chat in regards to how this stage has been going. I mean, you guys obviously have already locked playoffs. You've been undefeated the entirety of this stage. Does it feel like you can take your foot off the gas a little bit?
I mean, no. Yeah, everyone knows that regular stage is what it is. I mean, I think Shopify was first place. I don't know. Last stage, they finished like 3rd. I mean, we need as many SI points as possible, so playoffs is all that matters.
Yeah, of course. And I mean, even though it was a pretty dominating win, you guys were not winning in the opening kills department. That being said, what does it feel like that you guys can lose the opening kill, but then consistently are winning rounds or bringing rounds back at a man disadvantage? What's the energy like for you personally? What does it feel like in those moments? Does it feel like everything's winnable still?
It's finally clicking again, and we're winning the 3v5s. I feel like we were losing them for a while, you know? I mean, when we were in the 5v3s, I feel like every other team is now experiencing what we were going through. And we're closing out the 5v3s, which is nice too. I feel like we have a clean game, even if we're losing the entry pick still.
Definitely. Well, Diffuser, can't call you a rook anymore at this point. You're the furthest thing from, and you guys are still on a very clean streak. I kind of want to talk about your just personal experience on this roster, and then I did highlight Hot and Cold being he's, whether you're knowledgeable of this or not, he's the highest rated IGL out of any of the other IGLs current in the series, and then also he is the highest performer on your team. I'm just kind of curious for your insight, having your IGL be the best performer on the team. I'm kind of curious what that does for your just mentality in game, whether you're having a good game, whether you're having a bad game. I'm just curious, what does that do for you knowing that your IGL is putting up numbers and also making these calls?
I mean, he's just a beast. I feel like the last 2 games, I really haven't done shit. The whole team is just, they're stepping up big. I feel like in practice, they do it too. They're putting in the work, and it's showing.
I would say
Matt obviously is definitely above expectations, and I think it's good because he deserves that. I feel like he's worked really hard to be there.
And does that give you just guys the confidence knowing that, again, the IGL is the one that is, leading that charge, being that voice, and not only being that voice, but being that figure even on the stats?
Yeah, absolutely.
There you got it.
All right.
There we have it.
Thank you. Quick interview. I mean, we've literally spoken to every single person on the roster because you guys just keep on winning. We've asked Fabian to do an interview twice. First excuse was that he was in his underwear. I don't know what his excuse was this time around, but maybe we can have a conversation with him at some point. You want?
I just wanted to know, like, if we can really, you were very nonchalant, just flexing the word right now. I figured, like, let's get into something juicy. I mean, what, you gotta just play Cloud9.
He needs a new piece of gum. I know that gum has been in his mouth since the start of that game, and there ain't nothing left in flavor.
Good comms.
I mean, speaking on chewing on
done.
people, you guys were chewing on Hat. I want to know what your opinion is on the Cloud9 pickup since getting Hat throughout the stage. After you have played against them, how do you feel that's impacted Cloud9?
I mean, obviously, they didn't work out with Packer, so they went with Hat. And I think they're a better team based off scrims and stuff. I think they play a lot better of a game. And then, obviously, on match day, I mean, they got closer last stage, so I guess they didn't get better, but they feel better.
Right. All right. Thank you.
Is that the answer that you were looking for?
No, I was hoping for something crazy, but I mean, good enough. Thank you.
He's
Keeping
getting older. He doesn't want to trash talk
Yeah, I was
anymore.
going to say,
Yeah.
keeping it correct. Either way, thank you so much for your time. We've taken up quite a bit. Hopefully, we'll see you guys around. I mean, playoffs definitely secured at this point, so congrats for that as well, and good luck in the upcoming 2 games.
Thank you.
Bye. Now, you were hoping to, like, get them to trash talk just a little bit.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, I love when players come into the interview. They're very calm, very collected, but at the same time, it also definitely helps whenever players have personality and they're able to
Oh, you're saying he doesn't
grow
have
their own grow their own brand. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying it definitely helps. I feel like the easiest way to get that personality across is when you can talk freely about a team or a subject or something that's, you know, they can get their energy out a little bit. But
Yeah,
I
let's
guess
bring it
he
back.
left it all into the match, essentially.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, they all took it to the server. It was a very dominant and convincing win from the side of M80.
Yeah, I was actually really impressed with the Kino. You know, we talked about him on the Shields, didn't like him seen on the Shields, but whether he was on the Blackbeard, whether he was on the Blitz, he was making that headway. I mean, I think he was the best performer on the team in this matchup. So again, hats off to Kino. You know, people want to talk about his performance, but yet he performs when he needs to. The plays and kills that he makes within rounds are all impactful. You can't take anything away from him. But just for the team as a whole, even in some of those rounds, I mean, I was just really impressed with the communication. We heard from Diffuser talking about, you know, they feel like now they can win these 5v3s. They were losing them early on. They're gelling together now. They're looking far more convincing. And again, with every single game, they're just looking to be better and better.
Yeah, I think a lot of that comes off of Kino's clutches, especially against SR and other matches, because you feel like when you see that happen, then rounds where you're at a deficit start to become more, oh, it doesn't matter. We're going to pull something out. We're going to have somebody have a great play. And I think Cloud9 just didn't have a response for the Shields. Yeah. They didn't have a response for how quick M80 was on those executes. So it was unfortunate for that, but still, you know, shout out to Cloud9. Dream played really well.
Yeah. And there are also 2 specific rounds that we were looking to highlight when it came to the play from the side of M80, round 5 and round 10.
Yeah, round 5 was a beautiful execute onto Jim where essentially they jump in off the plants of the smokes. They understood that Cloud9 was going to be playing behind that clash as their info gatherer, so they get an amazing plant down right where the bomb is. Glaz opens up the hatch, and then, wow, look at this angle. You can just play it from below. Cloud9 tries to retake it. Great job from them. They put the clash shield down, but it didn't work out for them.
Round 10, I actually really love how this round played out. I mean, they knew that the round eventually was going to have to come to an end and the round was going to get constricted. The site was going to get constricted, rather. And what you saw was one player swing construction, killed a player outside on balcony. You see Kino take the 2 big gunfights on bottom red, where then I believe it was Gavini swinging into server to kill the player jumping through the breach, while Hot and Cold, or was it Gavini? I don't know who was out on, on the rafters. Someone was on rafters. They had that attention of the Monty, but all of them clearly communicating, understanding where the win was going to come from. It came off that first kill outside server window, and then just collapsing. I mean, again, M80 really has it down. Even in the man disadvantage, they played those positions so well.
Yeah, it's down to a science at this point, and it feels like it's like the question is who's going to be the team to beat them. So far, literally no one has been able to do so. So maybe it's going to be a different beast once we head into best of 3s, but that is something to look at in playoffs because we are still in Super Week, and we have just finished our first 3 games of Super Week with this match wrapping up, meaning that next one is going to be Envy Shopify, and the banger of tonight, DZ SSG.
Yeah, I'm excited to see if Envy can, you know, stand up and play and hold their own against Shopify Rebellion. It was nice what we saw against Dark Zero, but again, I want to keep seeing that from them, the improvement. So for me, I'm Envy fanboy, looking forward to it.
I'm the same way with you. I think they just need to start out at a little faster pace than what we saw against Dark Zero, because that's where we started to see that momentum happen towards the very end. And once we saw DZ win, we saw a sigh of relief come out of Nafe's side. So if Envy can start out the gate strong, I mean, they can look good, but that's a matter of will that happen?
Yeah, so let's not hold you guys up too long because Envy against Shopify coming up after the break.